Oh, you should be so proud. That sounds incredible. Even already, that's like, as I said, you make these concepts seem so accessible and not larger than life. Like, it seems like something that anybody can take the time to do. And as you said, like, open and close the book in one go. That's what people need. Like, talk therapy can just almost keep you in your trauma, like, bring your trauma more into the present because you're always bringing it back up. But just to be able to address it at it, that's a one thing with obviously like holistic health and all that, the core problem. We need to
Mm-hmm.
fix the core problem and not the symptom of the problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love the way that you make the spiritual concepts so accessible on TikTok. How did you decide to bring that to a broader audience? Because I would have always looked at spirituality as for the spiritual people, for want of a better way to put it. I would have said that's not for me. And I think you were the first kind of creator that drew me into that world in a more accessible way.
Well, everyone is spiritual and everything is spiritual. And I just got really irritated because I went 40K into debt trying to learn these secrets. And in every single mystery school or with a teacher that I initiated, all of the stuff that I've studied is very old and has also always been very like secretive.
Mm,
And way too secretive, in my opinion. I believe that a teacher that has never been surpassed by a student like has failed. I think it's your job to teach people in a way that they can surpass
wow.
you
Yeah.
and keep teachings contemporary. But historically, it was always really expensive to work with a living teacher. And I am just like a professional thief. Like I go in and pay 15 grand to work with a coach for 2 sessions. And I'm like, I thank you very much. If it's not bolted to the floor, I'm taking it with me and I'm teaching it to people for cheaper because we just don't there's been this really old spiritual rule that like you have to really work for it, you have to
Mm,
either renunciate everything in your life or you have to pay so much money, and it's always been that way and nobody's ever questioned it. It's completely inaccessible. And I really feel like this method is super outdated at a time when the world really needs it. But the
yes.
teachers are fundamentally so scary. They say all of this stuff to you. If you teach before you're ready, you'll be struck down. How dare you? Like the teachers don't want to be surpassed. And I
Ah.
have always felt like that's not coming from a genuine desire to serve, that that's coming from a desire to hold. And so I'm like, I tell people all the time, like, steal everything that you can for me, get it out there. That's why I had to like scramble and write this book. Cause I'm like, oh, one of my students is going to write this book if I don't do it. But I don't feel like that's appropriate anymore. So I've just been spilling esoteric tea like crazy, pissing off people. But there's teachers and there's disciples. And a disciple is waiting around for the teacher to die because maybe they'll be chosen to take over the mantle and teach things exactly by the book, even though all the disciples will argue about if they're the right person to do it or not. But there are no teachers out there that have ever become teachers without pissing off their teacher. You have to be
Okay.
able to say, like, yeah, I get that it took you 10 years, but I'm going to break this down. I'm going to put it on TikTok because you won't. You
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
won't, you know?
You're the Robin Hood of spirituality.
Yeah. And I want everybody else to do it too. I'm like, rob 'em blind, baby.
Yeah.
Like, because we, these old school teachers just don't want to do it. They're like, TikTok, a dancing app, you know? But the world is ready for this. We live in the dupe era. We want to have
True.
things that are more accessible. We want to have things that are explained simpler. I love TikTok because the audience is very entitled. They do not care about initiation. They do not care about how hard you had to work. They're like, if you make me sit through more than 90 seconds, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a really good challenge and it's been a really good challenge for me. It's like, just make stronger work. Like we're ready for it. And if we're all getting it quicker, faster, like imagine where the collective can go if we don't have to go chop wood and carry water for 10 years to get what we can get in a TikTok.
Exactly. That is such an amazing way of looking at it. I love that. This interview, I feel like, is going to start to skew a little bit selfish because I'm just going to be asking you questions about the stuff that I've seen you talk about that I would love to expand on or hear more about. So, one thing that you talk about is an upper limit problem and self sabotage. And that is definitely something that, like, my husband has dealt with. And I think it's really easy. Sometimes I'll get the concept and I'll be like, oh, that's an upper limit problem, but I don't really know a way to address that. I can identify it, but I don't really know how to address it. Do you have any practical advice on that?
Oh my God, girl, for days. I literally just pitched Vogue and got rejected on this, but I'm like, I need a column called The Saboteur where it's just like on a weekly basis, people say, this is how I'm sabotaging myself. And this is how you...
A modern agony aunt, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If anyone's out there and says it's a good idea, please hit me up. Here's where I think it could be even more useful. If we could go even a little bit more selfish, if we could go a little bit more selfish about where you're sabotaging yourself, instead of talking vaguely about self-sabotage, because the concept of an upper limit problem comes from Gay Hendricks' book, The Big Leap, which is a wonderful book on self-sabotage. That's, 200 pages and anyone can read it, but it's talking about self-sabotage generally. So what I'm curious to know is, have you noticed that when things are going really good, you just can't take that much joy? Do you have a preferred brand of suffering, like worrying that your kids have an undiagnosed terminal illness, or bickering with your husband, or, renovating a room that doesn't need to be renovated? What's your favorite brand of suffering on this one?
I find in my family that when everything's really perfect, we will throw anything away to try and achieve what we already have. So if we have, we're not worried about bills. We've got loads of money. We need to make more money. Let's not see each other at all and get second jobs. Why? We haven't, you know what I mean? It's like, we'll throw away the thing that we're trying to achieve. Mm-hmm. And that I would love to stop. It's like when things are at their best, we're like, why don't we make them better by ruining them?
Yeah, totally. Have you guys ever established what your core values are as a family?
I mean, I don't, not in an official way. No, I would imagine it aligns, but we definitely haven't like spoken about it and put it on paper or anything like that.
Oh, you're gonna love this. So we're gonna look at this from two different ways. Because it's got to be practical to apply, something that we can do that say, okay, this is how we're gonna solve this. But then we're gonna look at like, what is the core sabotage behind this? Mm-hmm. And I always tell my students, and I always have to tell my husband, like, when something is working, take a picture of it mentally. Like, this is working. I like this. Like, this is good. This is creating a lot of income. This is smooth. This is what it feels like to be in flow. Like, this is good. Because the friggin' tendency for people that love a challenge, it's coming because you want to be challenged. But that tendency to break something that is working so well and to be like, I just got this intuitive hit that we should set fire to that room over there. And then we're going to create a path that's going to be like 10 months of suffering that's going to lead us to a whole lifetime of pleasure. And they say in the Tao Te Ching, like, there is no way to happiness. Like, happiness is the way. You don't slave to get to sustainability. You sustain. And that's what sustainability is. And this is so common. It's people that love a challenge. It's like when things feel stable, when things feel good, when things are reliable, you're like, wow, this isn't the chaos I grew up with. Let's stab it. Let's completely break this down.
Hey everyone, Chelsea here. I would love to take a moment to introduce you to our app, Yoga Plus. You will gain access to an incredible collection of videos led by top instructors in yoga, fitness, nutrition, and so much more. Download our Yoga Plus app today and get a free 14-day trial.